Hi everybody, this is Ace here and welcome back to another YouTube video. And in today's video, I wanted to go in and revisit my Acer Nitro. It's been about, I'd say, kind of close to a month since I actually got this thing, and I'm really liking it so far, other than a few caveats, which I'll get to later on in the video. So for starters, I know I did a video on this before, so if you're interested in checking out that video, I'll leave a link to that video in the description so you guys can go take a look at it, so you guys can get an unboxing and first impressions on this device. But to give you guys a quick rundown of what I did get in the box, I got the 135 power adapter, the laptop itself, stickers, which you guys can see some of them over here. I got the Acer Nitro sleeve because I picked up the Best Buy model, and I did end up getting some warranty information and some other documentation, which, let's just be honest, most people don't even really read that stuff anyways when they get out of the box anyway. Starting off with the laptop itself, I love this thing. But there's this one problem, and that happens to be the battery life on this. So I'll use it for quite a while, and I'll get some pretty decent numbers on battery life on 100% brightness, which I'll talk about that a little bit later as far as brightness is concerned and the display. But for whatever reason, I cannot get more than a couple hours if I turn the refresh rate up and leave it on dynamic. It's only going to last about 3 to 4, maybe 5 hours at most, and then it would die. So I need to make sure I'm close to an outlet. Now, don't get me wrong, battery life, you set it to 60 hertz, turn the brightness down. I never turn the brightness down, but if I do use them on 60 hertz, I can get a bit more. It'll last me for school, and it'll last me for some general productivity in the car. But as soon as I start firing up anything more intensive, the battery life quickly drops down very fast. Now, as far as the display, it is, like I said, 44 hertz, full HD. That's the maximum, but you guys do get a dynamic refresh rate. So if you guys look here, it does actually have a dynamic option at the bottom, though I only really turn it on when I'm trying to play an FPS game and I need it to adjust for me. Otherwise, I leave it in 60. Now, you guys can, if you really want to, set it to a static 72 or set it to a static 144. That's if you guys prefer to do that. And the model that I have here, and while it does have a pretty decent display, it's only going to last me, or not last me, I'm sorry. It's only going to go up to about 320 nits-ish of brightness. Now over here, you guys see the Intel sticker, and I know most people have the 4050 model, most reviewers. I actually have the 4060 model, so I've got the i7-13620H and the RTX 4060. Obviously, it has RTX, so it's clearly NVIDIA. Yeah, those with the red guys over there. Actually, I'm not really biased because I got a desktop over here, so we're cool with that. But all that segue aside, it performs really well. Now, in my last video, I did do some benchmarks on this laptop as far as gaming performance is concerned, hitting 60 to 80 FPS in most of the games that I play. Around 60 and film for those who play GTA 5 is very heavily modded. Hit around 80, 90 in Destiny 2. Round finish in Minecraft with the settings turned up. So in that regard, all things good. Pretty good. But at the end of the day, it's not going to go up to max. So you're not going to expect this thing to run 4090 level performance, maybe even 4070. But at high and medium mix, it's decent. Now for Fortnite, I did test Fortnite. I did get around 120 in performance and around 60 to 90 in DirectX 12 mode. This is with ray tracing off. While I don't have a raw footage to show you guys that at the moment, we'll probably will find a way to get some numbers. And if you guys want me to do a separate test video, let me know in the comments down below and I'll do a separate test video for you guys. Okay, so going over ports one more time, because this is really important that you guys know what ports you guys are getting on your laptop. So I have a power jack over here. That's where the purple connector goes on the power cable. Simple enough. Gigabit Ethernet, HDMI 2.1, 2 USB-As. These are 3.2. I believe there's 3.2, and I think one of them is always on. Not sure if it's this one or the one on the right. I think it's the one on the right that's always on. And then Thunderbolt 4, which I'm going to talk about Thunderbolt 4 in just a second. Now, on the right, headphone jack, Kensington, vent, and of course, another USB 3. Yep, this one's the always-on port. On the back, more vents. Bottom, way more vents. Actually, you guys can clearly see the entire interior right here. I find this pretty hilariously cool. Like, you can see from left to right, the whole, even the RAM. Like, that's just, wow. And now, you know what, you guys, this thing for cooling is actually pretty exciting. I've never seen a laptop that is honestly this decently cooled like this. I've used a budget gaming laptop before. For those who know, I had an HP Victus. I had an overheating defect. This is what I like to see, people. This is what I like to see. Full cooling all the way around, almost all the way around, except on the right. Cooling on the back, cooling on the bottom makes me super, super, super happy. And the thing, it does have 2 upgradable RAM slots, is DDR5, 5200 megatransfers, 5200 megahertz, however you want to classify it. 57.5 watt-hour battery, and on the inside, on this side where I'm pointing my fingers at, there are 2 M.2 slots right here. One of them, depending on the region and the configuration you get, is going to be preoccupied with 512 or 1 terabyte, depending on how you configure it. The other one is empty, but it does come with a screw already installed, so you guys can remove that screw and add another M.2. I actually upgraded both of these, so I put my drive from my Victus inside the laptop. That was a 1 terabyte on the right, the extra slot. And I did put a 1 terabyte and swap out the 512 on the left. So I have technically 2 terabytes. Both slots do max out at 2 terabytes of supported M.2. I say supported because technically, unless the motherboard has a restriction that will cap it, which most don't, you technically can go above the supported. It's not recommended, but if you wanted to, you could theoretically have 4 terabytes in here, and you can actually go up to 8 in total. I've never tried it. It says it's not supported, but if you guys do find a way to put 4 terabytes in here on both slots and get 8 terabytes, let me know. I'd love to see how it works. You're not supposed to do that, but you can. And if it whether or not it works, whether or not it's stable, I have no idea. So please do let me know if you guys find a way to get that to actually work for you. Now I'm going to talk a little bit more about the overall design of this thing. So the design of this thing has held up pretty nicely for the month that I've used it. I've had no issues with a lot of flex. This lid is a metallic lid. It's not aluminum. It is plastic. But as you guys can see, I'm pushing it down really, really hard. Actually, let me go on my desk over here. Where is it? I go over to this chair over here on my other desk. Because it's a harder surface, I'm still pushing on it and still got no flex on this lid. I have no quality control issues with mine. If I look at the chassis, I'm pushing this thing down pretty dang hard. It is not giving. Like, it will not give. And as far as the hinge is concerned, one hand, the first one might need a 2-hander just to get it started. Once you get it the first time, opens with one hand, no problem. And it's a dual hinge. I really like that. So for those who are unaware, this is especially common with HP laptops, if you have the single tier hinge, oftentimes, it's a little bit more tough to open with one hand if it's not balanced properly. Another thing with single tiered hinges is that if you open it from the side and you're not careful, it could have some damage in the long term. The chance is very small, but it is there. With a dual tier hinge, not only is it easier to open with one hand, but also with the dual tiered hinge, if you open it from the side, you're not necessarily going to damage it unless you are completely ripping the thing in super hyperspeed mode or something like that. And the other cool thing is, I know how a lot of people were a fan of Asus Ergolift hinge, whatever it's called. Ergolift hinge on the Asus laptops. This thing, kind of similar. If I pull it back, you guys can see it kind of raises it up a little bit off the desk. It's not going to be like max like upward tilt height like the Asus laptops from 2022, 2023, 2021 were, but it has something kind of similar, so it can allow a little bit more airflow to get up under there. Not substantial like Asus, but it would be beneficial if they did tweak that to allow it to go up a little bit further. I'm not sure if that would add more depth to the laptop because it would have to extend the hinge a little bit to allow that to happen, or give it more of like a curved design like the Asus laptops had, where they had the curve on the back to help lift it up rather than just having a straight diagonal hinge like this one does. Not sure if that would help with airflow, but it's pretty good. Now, I did want to talk about the Thunderbolt port, because the Thunderbolt port opens a whole world of possibilities. For those who don't know, Thunderbolt ports, they support power delivery. I personally could not get my Type-C charger to charge this laptop from the Thunderbolt 4 port. It might be because I don't have the supported charger. The charger that I have, it is power delivery. It's only 65 watts and is shared between all the ports. So regardless of how much I tried to plug it in, it would not charge. It probably wasn't strong enough, but it does offer a load of other benefits like DisplayPort. And of course, if you need to use an eGPU, this is really crucial for me, because a couple years ago, I think it was like last year, I had an HP Envy, which I also reviewed on the channel, and that one had 2 Thunderbolt ports. The reason why I got rid of that is because it only had 8 gigabytes of RAM, but the cool thing is that with Thunderbolt 4 ports, if you need to use a Thunderbolt 3 or Thunderbolt 4 GPU externally, you can do that. So if I wanted to put like a 4090 in this with a Thunderbolt 4 bandwidth cable and an enclosure for the GPU to be put into, and if I wanted to use that eGPU to have more ports, I could literally do that. I could put an external GPU with a 4090 up to this thing. And yes, while it won't support maximum bandwidth because I might lose some bandwidth over the Thunderbolt cable through this port, it's still going to be very helpful. And I don't necessarily know if it overrides the 4060 GPU, because I've never used an eGPU before, but I do know that if you use a Thunderbolt 3 cable with a Thunderbolt 3 eGPU enclosure and you use the right GPU combination, you can get some better stability on Thunderbolt 4 ports, because you're running at a lower protocol than the Thunderbolt 4 protocol that's equipped in this. I've seen it done before. It's possible. I've never tried it, but I hear it works really well. So if you're one of these that do that, then please let me know how it works for you. I'm curious. But if I wanted to use a 4090 or 4080, I literally could. I could boost this performance by tenfold if I wanted to. And that's why I love having Thunderbolt ports, even if it's just one Thunderbolt port. I'd rather have one Thunderbolt port than have USB-C 4 or have no Thunderbolt port at all. And that's just my opinion. I could be missing out on something with USB 4 standard. I don't use the AMD laptop chips anymore. I've stopped doing that after my overheating debacle, but I do love having this port. So many more capabilities, so much more you can do with it. That and the transfer rates for data files on hard drives is extremely fast. And if I want to do a Thunderbolt 4 dock, could do that too. I have 2 monitors over here, and if I wanted to unhook one of my tables, or even just set aside a space on like a side table or something and plug it up to my monitor, I could do that, and I would not lose as much performance. So that is a really good benefit to having a Thunderbolt 4 port on this thing. And another thing, the keyboard is not RGB backlit like some of the other models are. Personally, I'm okay with that. And the reason why I did not opt for the more gamer looking Nitro, and the reason why I didn't opt for any keyboard option with RGB, is because for school, and especially when I get into the workforce, for those environments, if they see with an RGB keyboard or anything that looks gamery, they're going to ask you, some teachers, some employers are going to ask you to take it, pack it up, and never take it again. And that's just because they can outright tell that it's for gaming and not for work, and it raises some eyebrows. Personally, I like this better because you can slip it in, get away with it, and unless you tell them that it's a gaming laptop, and if they're not familiar with gaming laptops, they would never know. That is the main reason why I opted for white backlit, why I opted for this model instead of the 16 or the older 5 model or even the Nitro 14, because those have too much game redesign, they're not as inconspicuous. That being said, if you prefer to just be outright gamery, go with the 16, go with the 14, or get another brand, because if that's something that you really want to do. That is a personal preference in my opinion, and I never begrudge people for their personal preference. If you like having those, then go for it. I'm all for it. Go for it. I love it. Now for a typing test. I know I'm in Google. I'm not in the notepad or anything, but keyboard, it's a little bit more silent. And I personally don't find it mushy. I think it's fine. It's not stellar. It's not terrible. I think it's meh. I can deal with it. I honestly don't care about the trackpad either. Most of the time, I just have a Bluetooth mouse sitting around. And when I pair it with these headphones that I got, which these are the JBL Quantum 910X gaming headset, I pair it with these. It's actually beneficial if you guys have a pair of these or some pair of headphones lying around. The speakers on this sound god-awful. I'm just gonna be blunt with you guys. It sounds god-awful. And it's not because of Dolby Atmos. I turned Dolby Atmos on. It's the speakers themselves. They're not up to par with something like an Asus laptop or maybe even a Dell. Definitely never gonna match MacBook quality. Don't even put them in that tier. Don't. Just please don't. And if you want to hear a sound test, I gotta go into my YouTube feed here. Let's see. If you guys want to hear a sound test, I'll play it for you at 50% volume and I will cover my ears. You guys can see what I've been watching. Don't worry about that. Ugh, this is so bad. I'm torturing my ears right now. Oh gosh. Oh my god. It has no bass, and it has a lot of treble, but it's not balanced. It's definitely not balanced at all. Like I can't. Oh my gosh. Oh, my ears. You know what? Scratch that. Just scratch that. Okay, so anyways, I'm gonna close this out on this note. If you guys looking for a laptop sub 1,000, sub $1,100 that you guys can save a quick buck with, and you guys really want to pick this up, then I would say go for it. There's only two caveats I would mention. If you're looking for better speakers and if you're looking for the best battery life, skip it. Like, this is not for you. If you're okay with that and you just want to get by with gaming and do schoolwork and everything else, then don't see why not. It's a great option. There's just a little bit of those caveats are really what are kind of making me on the fence about using this long term, longer than maybe a year or so. But I don't know, because when I was looking at the price compared to some of the better laptops out there, especially with my kind of budget and my situation, I couldn't afford an Asus G14 even if I wanted to. And even if I went with last year's model with the G16, it's still going to set me back right now as the time of a Best Buy sale about $1,100. And so when this went on sale for $879, I was like, okay, do I want to go in a little bit of debt to get a better laptop and have to spend $800 to put to it over time? Or do I just want to spend $960 with tax included to get this outright and only put $50 to it, maybe $60, and be able to do what I want to do and be satisfied with it? And at the end of the day, I chose to be satisfied because I don't need anything over the top. Your use case might be different. You might need something over the top. If that is you, then look elsewhere. If you guys are okay with this, and you guys are like, I don't need anything super special, I just want a game, I just want to do schoolwork, do some productivity work, I just need something that'll get me by, then this laptop is definitely for you. If you guys like this video, please be sure to subscribe and like the video. I try to do reviews every so often when I can. I cannot review everything. As a small YouTuber, I cannot do every single laptop that comes out at the moment because I'm not sponsored or anything. But when I can do it, I try to do this for you guys because at the end of the day, I want to share my perspective and give you guys help you guys make an informed decision. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and give it a thumbs up. And I'm HJ. I'll catch you guys in my next video.